Hey everybody, I'm going to try to get a little bit of videoing in. They are doing something across the street with some kind of a power tool. They've been doing it for over 30 minutes without even shutting it off. I'm just waiting for the thing to burn up so I can get some peace and quiet at my house. But I wanted to show you the difference in lengths between the spark plugs for a square coil head and a round coil head. The one right here I just took off my truck. Well, keep turning, keep turning. See that white spot right there? That's bad. That's where that steering shaft had rubbed through the insulation on my plug wire. Now it's not, the inside wire has not been exposed yet, but if you look, I mean, it's a significant amount of that sheathing has been eroded away or worn away by that steering shaft. So if it wasn't arcing and misfiring on that steering shaft, I would be totally shocked. Something that's been that greatly rubbed off. I mean, they even rubbed the boot. So look at this right here. See that concaved area? That's supposed to be flat, just like this. And it literally has worn down into the rubber, this, I used to call it the boot, plus the wire. But if you look at the difference in the lengths, for some reason, they moved the coils enough on the coil brackets on the valve covers that it went from a short wire for the round to a longer one for the square coil. Well, what I did last night, and I did make some more changes to it, I wanted to try to get as much clearance as I could. So I basically took this round wire, which is all I had here at the house, and trimmed off that whole big end of the boot, plus the little ribs that are on the what I call them stops. Used to be little stops that made it stop about in this area. And of course I trimmed some off the end, so that when I insert it into the metal heat shield, I can push it all the way in and get extra clearance. See how that now the boot of the plug wire goes significantly up inside of the heat shield, whereas the factory sends it out, it stops way at here, stops here, and leaves all that extra sticking out of the heat shield, which pushes the plug wire closer to the steering shaft that's messing me up. So I'm going to work with trying to get it on there and see if the new modified one will reach far enough to connect to the coil, and then I will do a follow-up installment that I can connect to this video to show in the vehicle whether it worked or not. So hang tight. Let me see what I can do. As the saga continues, I did not succeed with my first attempt to try to gain clearance to that steering shaft. So, not to be deterred. So basically, by trimming this boot where it will recess into this heat guard, did not help move the plug wire away from the steering shaft, because of the heat guard or heat shield and the design of how it snaps onto the end of the spark plug. It doesn't gain, like pushing the plug wire up inside the heat shield a 1/4 of an inch or more doesn't really change the angle in the plug wire actually hitting the stupid steering shaft. So that brainchild is put to bed. We're moving on to plan B. So, since I haven't been able to get to the store yet and try to research the spark plug wire I need, here's my new idea. I haven't even tried to fit it on the car yet. Basically what I did was took the square coil plug wire, snipped it off as close to the boot as I could, then went through my hoard of junk and found a black Taylor 90-degree plug wire end with the corresponding metal piece inside. I basically took a razor knife, exposed the inner core of the factory style plug wire, and assembled a coil wire with a 90-degree boot. So I will attempt to get that on there. Now I could not find, because normally I assemble my plug wires with one of those plastic, I think MSD gives them to you in their wire kits. It's like a two-piece plastic job you put in your bench vise, or you squeeze them with vice grips and you can crimp your ends. Today I tried, hopefully it's strong enough, on these cheap crimpers, there's a hole called ignition terminals, and I was able to crimp that plug wire together using these. Hopefully it'll work. Stay tuned, we'll find out. All right, everybody, plan B is installed, but as you can see, it really needs to be a 45-degree boot on the spark plug, not a 90. Okay, so basically I assembled my own plug wire by modifying the truck square coil plug wire, put that 90-degree on there, but it holds the wire too close to the manifold. Like, it gives tons of clearance to the steering column, steering shaft clearance is now no longer a problem. I don't know why that thing's trying to be blurry. Apparently it's retarded. Sorry, that might be offensive. But basically plan B is not going to be a long-term solution because it's going to end up melting that plug wire from heat. So at this point, I am going to run to town, or to a bigger town, and go look at the auto parts stores and see if I can find a plug wire that will fix my, be a solution to my problem with a 45-degree at the stupid plug. Stay tuned. Real quick piece of information at the Advanced Auto Parts. On the right hand side is a square coil wire, then there's a round coil wire, then there's the 45-degree boot 2005 Corvette wire. Two things: it won't work for me because the 45 doesn't occur quick enough. It basically pushes the plug wire out to the danger zone, which won't clear my steering shaft, and the wire isn't long enough to connect to the coil. So that's a quick update on my search for parts. We're still looking for a solution. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Update, I would call either plan C or plan D at this point. Here is our assembled plug wire. We ran through all the plug wire sets on the shelf at Advanced Auto Parts, and the 2005 Corvette and or the Silverado trucks that have the 90-degree boot were not working my application. So we looked online and tried to order a set of 45-degree boots from MSD, but they were special order only, and I need this today, right now. So basically what we did was we were able to do a square coil LS plug wire, remove the factory end, cut off, what would that be, probably 3/8 of an inch or something off the end of this, I believe, Ford 45-degree plug wire boot, and modify the end so that it lines up, because all you got to do is bend it at 45 and it lines up with the hole. So we have replicated the contact that we need. Now to take a short intermission and see if it'll fit on the car. Stay tuned. Boom. It's like magic. We're in a new day, getting buzzed out by the lawn care people that's coming around to cut the grass. So I'm going to try to make this a really quick video before he comes back around the building. See if we can get it in here. Look at the clearance I have now. That is a square coil LS plug wire where we've carefully removed the rubber boot at the bottom that came factory and replaced it with a 45-degree angle boot off of a Ford plug wire. So now I have all kinds of clearance to my steering shaft. It's got plenty of clearance because of the 45-degree angle. If I can get under that hose. That's too close. But there's plenty of clearance between the manifold itself, the mounting bolt, and the steering shaft now. You can see that polished area on the steering shaft where that plug wire was rubbing before, and it wore through that sheathing in quick order. So this is the follow-up cure to my steering shaft clearance concerns, and hopefully when I get back from Belton I will be able to get started on my piston weight video. So anyway, sorry that this video is so real choppy as far as a bunch of little segments that I'm going to have to put together, because I think we ended up on plan D. D as in David, D as in Delta, but it ended up being a lot more trouble than I was expecting to try to get a plug wire that would clear that steering shaft after we had decided that there wasn't a factory plug wire that would clear it. It was time to assemble, some assembly required. So anyway, sorry for being so shaky, trying to do this freehand and get out of here. Talk to you soon.